32 of them playing today. It'll cut it down to 32, but this opening round, it is nerve-wracking for everybody. Boston College happy to be in here, and especially to get to host a game.
Yale certainly is the better record of these two teams at 13-2-2, but we're in the 40s in RPI, where Boston College was 28th. Really, you know, we talked about in terms of big results, ball chipped in, first opportunity in front for Yale, and it's cleared out by Mielis for Boston College. Good start here for the Bulldogs. But the Eagles, I mean, when you beat number 3 and tie number 1, in terms of where the RPI is going to slide, when you play as difficult a schedule as the ACC forces you to play, that's certainly going to slide you up the RPI.
And it's a big reason why this game is here instead of down in Connecticut. Eric, the 28 RPI that BC brings in, significantly higher than Yale, which coming into the week is at number 46, even though they have one of the best winning percentages in the country.
And came in ranked 25th in the coaches poll, 21, a couple of other polls for the Bulldogs. Goal kick by Gardner, headed down by Ryan Matteo, the senior from Chesterfield, Missouri. As part of a Yale team, like most of your average Ivy League schools, recruits all over the country and beyond.
I think one thing that is certainly important to point out, Boston College could very easily show some signs of rust early in this match. It has been over 2 weeks since they have played a game when they lost in the ACC tournament.
Long ball out in front here for Paolo Carroll, but Gardner comes out to play it. Yeah, the Ivy League season went all the way to last Saturday. There's no Ivy League tournament. The regular season starts a little bit later than some other programs, but extends to Saturday. Whereas Boston College has not played a game since November the 5th at Notre Dame. Their last regular season game was the first day of this month of November here against Syracuse. So it has been a while for this BC team.
You count it up, it's about 2.5 weeks. Lost in overtime in that ACC game out at Notre Dame. That's a long time, Eric, to try to keep loose, keep active. You don't even know for sure that your season is going to continue.
And that's why you have to love what Yale's doing here early in this game, really trying to force to hold possession here and push it in deep on Gardner.
Meanwhile, Yale, you mentioned, they played this weekend, and they come in red hot. They've won their last 4, including beating Princeton on Saturday.
Ball settled down by Carroll, but the flag was up for offside. So it'll be Boston College possession here in the first half from Newton. It is a cold night out there. It was a little bit warmer today than it's been over the last few days here in the Boston area. It got up to about 49, 50 degrees, but it has steadily dropped ever since the sun went down, and certainly will be temperatures in the 30s. Not a whole lot of wind tonight, which would make it pretty extreme to be playing in these conditions.
And the fans that are braving the elements out here tonight, a lot of them bundled up, Eric. You can see the steam coming out of the mouths and off the head of the players out there in the field.
Ball got ahead. Susky trying to find it behind Jeremy Haddock, but Haddock came in and got it out of harm's way in front of Elian Haddock, his older brother, in goal for Yale.
And Susky, as a freshman, he's been a guy that often this season Bob Thompson has brought in off the bench to give the offense a spark in the second half of games. But tonight, with there being no tomorrow, I think Coach Thompson just deciding we got to have our best on the field immediately. You can see Susky there with that long hair. He's getting active early.
Boston College playing in its first NCAA tournament since 2016 when they lost in the second round to Albany. Year before that, 2015, BC made it all the way to the Elite Eight, where they lost to Syracuse, who got its trip to its first College Cup in a battle of 2 programs who had never made it. Shot is fired high here from Miguel Yuste, the captain, the senior from Spain.
First team All-Ivy selection. And Yuste, as you said, he is the leader of this Yale team. He's got ties to the Bay State. Went to high school, prepped at Northfield Mount Herman out in Western Mass, did Yuste. 8 goals this year, most in the Ivy League.
Victor Souza, an all-ACC freshman team selection in the center back role for Boston College. Long ball ahead from Kellett, looking for Susky, but it ends up in on Elian Haddock. Sophomore from Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin, who has moved all over the place in his life, along with his brother. Born in Saudi Arabia, between Saudi Arabia, the United States, they lived in 5 total countries, as well as South Korea, China, and Switzerland. And it was Haddock's time when he lived in Shanghai, China, that he started to play soccer.
A lot of stamps on that passport for the Haddocks. Elian has had a terrific sophomore season. One of the 4 first-team All-Ivy selections that Coach Stannard's team brings. But when you give up only 11 goals in 17 matches played, that's doing something.
11 total goals, as you said. Yale has not allowed more than a goal in a game since its 2nd game of the season at Colgate. Even in their 2 losses this year, they were 1-0 defeats in double overtime to the defending national champs in Maryland, and then on the road at Penn. Shapiro Thompson will lead Sigurdsson for Boston College. Freshman to freshman, both all ACC selections. Shapiro Thompson to the freshman team, Sigurdsson to the 3rd team overall. Yale couldn't get it off of Lasse Lehmann, who's had a strong year in the midfield for BC this year. Settle down, poked forward by Sigfús Arnason for Yale. The first year from Iceland. A bunch of student athletes from Iceland on the field today. 3 of them for Boston College and 1 for Yale.
Well, you mentioned Stefan Sigurdsson, Eric. That is where the offense has been coming from, really, for 2 months. When Boston College has been able to produce goals, feels like time and again it's come off the right or the left foot of Stefan Sigurdsson. We showed you in our open the 2 brilliant goals he scored in the upset win against Wake Forest. He pretty much single-handedly won that game. That's the man they want to have the ball on his foot as much as possible.
It's part of his stretch where Boston College went from September 24th against UMass all the way through October 11th against Virginia without losing a game, winning 3 and tying 3, including the win against number 3 Wake and the tie against number 1 Virginia here at home. Conradson, long ball across for Susky, and it's out of his reach. Big part of that Wake win as well was Christopher Conradson coming into the second half after he missed time due to an injury this year. Boston College team, we mentioned it off the top of the show, a lot of injuries on this roster, but they are pretty much as healthy as they've been today as they have really since maybe the opening game of the season. They're still without Hadar Aitchison, but pretty much everybody else is back at this point.
Aitchison, a co-captain, he's been out for a couple of months now. There's Conradson. He missed 6 games early this season, and I think you make a great point, Eric. Part of the turnaround mid-year was when he came back and got healthy. Conradson, only a couple of goals on the year, but you figure if he had had that time that he missed, those totals may have increased significantly.
2 goals and an assist, 16 total shots in 10 games played this year for the sophomore from Iceland. He's really primed to have a breakout year and showed his impact in different ways through the course of this season. Miguel Yusti lost it on the far side. Victor Souza will work possession back cross field for Conradson. Headed down by Justin Loeb, the senior from Maryland, to step of the way. And the ball is out of bounds, throw in for Boston College.
Well, you wonder when you get into these win and advance, lose in your season ends type of games, you wonder how the teams come out and play. This is, as you said, without an Ivy League tournament, the first one and done scenario for this Yale team this year. BC had the game that they lost in the ACC tournament, but with the pressure of a game like this, I think that changes the dynamic significantly.
In fact, Yale had already clinched the Ivy League regular season title with its win a week ago Saturday against Brown. So last weekend's game against Princeton was not even that scenario of getting the automatic qualifier or not. They already had locked up that spot.
They thought they had a very good chance to get a home game here in this opening round. Well, I know the strength of schedule's not great. But you pointed out earlier the 2 losses were to some really good teams, including the defending national champion Maryland in overtime.
Yeah, certainly not the regular season schedule against the Ivy Leagues is going to be the same as the ACC, but Yale certainly did go out. They played on the road at Syracuse, an ACC team, at Colgate, played against UConn and Niagara, Fairfield, and non-conference play, and then certainly, as we said, that game on the road against the defending champs from Maryland.
And in their losses, the Maryland game and at Penn. The stats would tell you, and if you go back and watch the film, the folks from Yale say that they outplayed those teams for large portions of that each of those contests. And for Kylie Stannard, former assistant coach at Michigan State before he came to New Haven.
The Spartans reached the Elite Eight twice in his time at Michigan State. Kept in by Joe Kellett. Maybe not.
You mentioned the health scenario for BC. It's good to have that man back for Coach Thompson. Joe Kellett did not play in their ACC tournament loss at Notre Dame, and he is certainly one of the leaders of this Boston College team.
It was a game the Eagles led 1-0 early, ended up losing on an own goal in double overtime to advance the Fighting Irish in the ACC tournament. Lasse Lehman has his pass intercepted. Yale coming back with Jake Schaefer. Shapiro Thompson in the middle, making life difficult. Wide for John Leisman. And you see the speed of Shapiro Thompson, full length of the field. Go and take that ball away.
He had a really good freshman season. He's another guy who was banged up a bit, missed 4 games. Amos Shapiro Thompson still ended up making the All-ACC freshman team.
Yeah, that was the most amazing part of that Wake win for Boston College. They did it without Shapiro Thompson. Mike Susky will leave for Lasse Lehman. Shapiro Thompson goes to the middle, and Susky once more. Wide for Joe Kellett. But Loeb got in the way for a moment. Kellett forcing it on. Contact but no call. And out of bounds for a throw-in.
You're starting to see more possession here for Boston College, perhaps as they get their game legs back underneath them. It's not a huge, dynamic, high-scoring team. You see Kellett here using his head to advance that ball forward and ultimately keep possession alive. Be a throw in here from an advantageous spot.
Kellett has taken most of these long throws this year. Got it into the box. First head on it was Yale's. Cleared out to Conradson. Got around Carroll to the middle. Shot in and a save by Haddock. First save of the game for Elian Haddock, and really the first time that Boston College changed the field.
And this is the first shot on goal in this match. Here you see the tail end of it. Off the left foot of Conradson, one of the men from Iceland. Eric, we were talking about him. When healthy, he can be one of the most dangerous men on the Boston College team.
You can kind of see his ability to get a shot off like that. Wasn't a whole lot there, but still got a pretty good offering in on Haddock. And as we said, a Yale team that does not give up many goals, just 11 of them total, less than a goal a game. Eustace did not get behind David Longo, who's played every minute for Boston College this year. The transfer from FIU, where he played his freshman season. Conference USA All-Freshman Team selection before coming up to Boston College, as he now plays as a redshirt junior. Arneson against Lehman. Close to that sideline. Joe Kellett comes over to help. And right towards the corner. And it is ruled a corner kick for Yale. So strong work there by Sigfús Arneson, the first year from Iceland. It's kind of an interesting story. He came over as a freshman and in high school and went to high school in West Hartford, Connecticut at Conard High School, then went back to Iceland for his sophomore through senior season before coming over to play his college ball at Yale.
And certainly familiar with the Icelandic players on this BC team. Here we go with the first corner of this match.
Long ball extended out, goes all the way through. That'll be Boston College possession. Eagles have, in terms of allowing corner kicks, it's a number that's really increased over the back half of the season. They're averaging 5.7 corner kicks allowed per game. That number was closer to 4 over the first half, even first 3 quarters of the season, but teams have done a pretty good job of late being able to create corners against BC.
Wow, they've played such tough competition at the end of the season in the ACC. Giveaway here.
No foul call with some contact in the middle of the field. Out wide again for Arneson. Coming to the middle, and Longo knocked it out. Ball goes out of bounds for a throw-in for the Bulldogs. Seventh appearance in the NCAA tournament for Yale, and Gardner jumps on the shot from Miguel Yuste.
This was the play that set up this opportunity for Yale. As you can see, Amos Shapiro-Thompson going hard with Miguel Yuste. That was a play on. Shots on goal are now 1-1 after that last one got to Christian Garner. What a job he's done, Garner.
Yale certainly controlled play so far. Certainly has had more of the possession. But just the one shot registered on goal for each side so far. Right back for Susky. It's wide for Conradson, who got behind Justin Loeb. Going quickly, Conradson to his left foot, and he scores! Boston College strikes first.
That's the man we've been talking about, Eric Conradson. He is terrific with the left foot. Similar move to the one that got saved earlier. That time goes far post and just out of the reach of the diving Elian Haddock. That is a strike. Only the third goal of the year, and a lot of the reason that total's so low is due to injury.
It looked like that Conradson thought about going after it with his off foot, which would be his right foot, but with a couple of defenders coming at him, he correctly made the decision to extend the play to get an opportunity with his left foot. And that's his striking leg, and the one that worked out for the first goal of this game as Christopher Conradson puts the Eagles on top.
Boy, and so that changes things dramatically. Yale is a team that's not used to playing from behind, Eric.
Flag down for Yuste. Knew he had to go after it quickly and could only angle the shot wide.
But when you're a team, going back to my point, that's only allowed 11 goals all season. Not a lot of time you're looking up at your opponent on the scoreboard. This was Conradson again a moment ago.
Right there, it looked like he might go with his right, but instead wisely ends up on his left.
And again, remember, he made that pretty much same move just minutes earlier to get a left-footed shot off. Went back to the well.
Going through traffic for the southpaw from Iceland. See how Yale responds, who you could still make the argument has, on the whole of it, had more time in its attacking end than Boston College has. The Eagles have had the better of the opportunity so far and the lead.
Well, and I would say whatever rust there was for maybe the first 10 minutes or so, that has completely gone away, and it's obvious. Play started to turn significantly into the other end. BC gets the early goal. Nice work there by Tyshawn Rose.
Rose's shoe came off. They go quickly in a play-on situation. Ball coming to the middle. Nobody home on the backside. As it ends up going out for a throw-in.
Well, let's take a look. He's not shoeless Joe Jackson. Here he is shoeless Tyshawn Rose. Just lost it once he lost the footwear.
Nothing advertent there, but just got his left foot stepped on. Throw in for BC and Joe Kellett.
Well, I would say that maybe among any of the team sports you have, your shoe is most important to be wearing in the game of soccer.
I think that seems valid.
Hard to make a counter argument.
Winhofer, the Ivy League's Offensive Player of the Year, and Joe Kellett with the slide tackle to take him off possession.
A little dangerous challenge there from Kellett. Let's see, he's just outside the box, and he wins the ball. Well done by Kellett. You got to make sure if you're going to challenge, especially at that part of the field, that you're going to get there first.
Substitution for the first time for Yale is Aldo Quevedo. Comes in for the first time. BC's trying to stretch that long ball through. That time it was Akpoye who got in the way. And so Akpoye, the sophomore from Nigeria, went to high school here in the States and was a two-time first-team All-State selection at Blair Academy. He plays with the ball now, works across for Jeremy Haddock.
So now what does that early Boston College goal do to Kylie Stannard for Yale? Does he change the game plan at all? They switch up the course of attack, now trailing by a goal early, which, again, I can't imagine that they were anticipating being down like this.
It's certainly not a bad offensive team. It's a Yale team that averages 2 goals a game. They've scored 34 of them over the course of this season. So it's not just a defensive mindset. It's just a good group overall. But the way they played today, it looks like there's a goal to be had. Carroll got behind the D. Gardner got the left foot, but a follow-up play and a whistle came out before the shot. And it's called against Yale. Carroll got whistled for it with contact against Christian Gardner. Looked like there was an opening coming in for Quevedo, but Gardner is the one down on the turf, and that's why the whistle came out early.
Well, there's Gardner just getting absolutely run over. That's a good call by our referee tonight. Robert Sabiga sees this contact coming from Paulo Carroll.
And it didn't look like anything advertent here, just kind of falling over Kellett as he went to the ground, but certainly still enough to be called a foul. Yep. So that's why the follow-up opportunity was negated. So it remains 1-0, and kind of just to the point we were making that Yale's created a lot of offense already.
They certainly have, and you know they're going to continue to press forward. This is win or go home time of the season. As we've talked about, Christian Gardner has done such a great job and given such a boost to the BC defense since he took over.
Mattio's ball in. Lehman got it out with the left foot.
I think if you're BC, very confident having Gardner back there with a lead, knowing that the onslaught is still to come.
It's been an amazing year for Christian Gardner, the sophomore. He stepped into the role after 4 games. Has started every game since that point. Been really strong out of Orleans, Mass. Mike Susky still on possession, and just a tough angle. Made so many good moves, he was out of rooms on that left side.
I think he was hoping for Sigurdsson, the man cutting in front of the net. That youngster, he's a magician with his feet. Susky pretty much made something out of nothing there. Not sure if he was shooting or passing, though.
That's what Susky can do. He's fun to watch. The freshman from Windsor, Connecticut. 2-time Connecticut Gatorade Player of the Year out of the Loomis Chaffee School, where he scored 80 goals across his youth career.
You see his season totals, rookie year, and he was really a guy who, as I talked about earlier, he would come in second half of matches, a lot of this ACC schedule, Eric, and just become a pest immediately. Just brings such energy.
Here's Winhofer. Couldn't thread it through Victor Souza. Now playing this way, pushing everybody forward for Yale does leave you susceptible to the counterattack with numbers the other way. Eagles trying to create that right now. Through the middle, and Akpoye came up to play it.
Boy, Stefan Sigurdsson was cutting again in towards the net, was hoping for a cross. It just never came. Sigurdsson is such a big target. Sometimes BC just will throw it out there and give him a chance to make a play.
That was Alex Mielis on that left side for Boston College, who started that last run. Sigurdsson was way down, making the goal kick for Haddock difficult. Tyshawn Rose, who's moved into the starting lineup over the last 8 games for BC. And Sigurdsson would have been offside, so he pulled up. 22 minutes remaining here in the first half from Newton, Massachusetts in the opening round of the NCAA Men's Soccer Championship. A 1-0 lead for Boston College over Yale on Christopher Conradson's goal in the 16th minute. Right foot chipped wide.
We showed you that tight shot of Tyshawn Rose, and you could see with every breath the steam coming out of the mouth. You'll see that from everybody out there tonight. Temperatures now in the mid-30s as it continues to drop here in Newton. Every time you breathe, puff of white smoke.
Susky trying to get behind. Matteo nearly caught up. Sigurdsson through the middle and then ran right into Okpoye. Not called, and so far they're letting him play here tonight.
Sigurdsson's going to take the contact here. I think that's a pretty good no call. Seemed to be well positioned for Enzo Okpoye. Sigurdsson went down trying to draw the whistle.
Susky wide for Mielis. He got knocked to the ground by Jake Schaefer. And that time a whistle does come out. Schaefer against the sophomore Alex Mielis.
Mielis with a step. And that time certainly the contact worthy of the foul. Free kick here coming for BC. I think to your point, Eric, you get into these postseason type of games, that's when you like an officiating crew to let a little bit more contact go than in the regular season. You got to call the obvious ones.
Low ball in for Lehman, headed out. Winhofer. Conradson kept it in. Lehman launching from deep and held on to by Haddock.
Ooh, boy, that became an opportunity off the foot of Lasse Lehman. Got a lot of mustard on that long shot attempt. Take a look at this from far out. Look at that. You have to make sure with your hands cold. Goalies are going to be tested on anything like that tonight. Nice job by Haddock.
Official stopped the clock for a moment. Robert Sabiga just monitoring this one. Arneson trying to get it back. David Longo chasing him down, and a good job screening out by Longo. And then that ball goes out of bounds. If you're just joining us, Boston College out to a 1-0 lead today over Yale, and it's Christopher Conradson who found the back of the net.
Just a gorgeous left-footed shot for the sophomore out of Iceland. Third goal of the season. Game about 15 minutes in and a 1-0 BC lead.
Sigurdsson for Susky. Trading backwards.
I think for the most part, Eric, there have been ebbs and flows, but a pretty even match thus far. Shots even at 4. A couple of saves registered now by Haddock for Yale. 1 thus far for Christian Garner.
David Longo is a little bit long on that pass and knew it immediately.
You kind of thought this one would be close. Hard contested opening round NCAA match, and that's what's shaping up.
Nice to have limited travel, at least in the first round. That travel will certainly increase for either one of these teams. As we said, the winner will go on the road to Seattle, take on Washington, the 6th seed in this tournament.
Well, when the committee puts together the bracket for this soccer championship, they do try to take geography into account, at least in this opening round. Obviously, once you get past that, it's a hard collision. You can fly all the way to the West Coast. Washington awaits the winner, and now we've got 2 shaken up players.
It's Quevedo against Longo here. Yale against BC, and oh, it looked like Longo, it may have been something before even the contact.
Well, he certainly took the worst of that. I think the shoe right onto the shin of David Longo as he was stretched out there. You could see him pulling at that shin and calf area. One more time, watch the right foot here, right onto the shin of David Longo. Boy, that looked painful, and he is just now getting to his feet.
Certainly doesn't help when it's cold outside. Everything hurts just a little bit more.
And you mentioned it. That's a guy who has not missed a minute of action this season for Boston College. Interesting decision here. They gave the foul to Longo. So it's a free kick coming up for Yale.
Winhofer and Arneson are the Bulldogs closest to it. Winhofer spinning in, got a header on it, but not a difficult one for Gardner. So he said these two teams looking for a trip to Seattle to take on Washington. This region, per se, of the bracket will eventually have to go through Georgetown, the highest ranked team in this quadrant.
Georgetown, number 3 overall seed. The top 2 seeds in this year's bracket, each coming out of the ACC. Number 1 is UVA, number 2, Clemson.
Two teams at Boston College played in the late stages of the season. A tie against Virginia here on October 11th. And then they fell on the road at number 3 Clemson at the time on October 25th by a 3-1 score.
Some of the Eli fans making the short drive up from New Haven. That fan, he was braving it out. He didn't have a coat or a jacket on, just a sweatshirt.
Logan Sullivan comes in for Yale, replacing Arneson, who's done a lot of good minutes on the near side. Beto Luna comes in for the first time for Boston College. Luna, who missed the first couple of games of the season due to injury, but is back now and been a strong player in the midfield. Luna coming up quickly on that one. Ball to the middle. Carroll knocked it down. Lehman got in front. And the German native Lasse Lehman stays on possession.
You can see the goal scorer, Conradson, getting a breather. I think, Eric, one of the nice byproducts of getting all the time off before this NCAA tournament began for BC, you get fresh legs.
A lot of pressure here from Yale made it difficult for the Eagles to clear. Ends up in a goal kick.
But, you know, guys who've had nicks and bruises, banged up for a lot of the year for Coach Bob Thompson's team, chance to get well, get healthy. You'd be at pretty good level of fitness coming into this one, you'd think.
The Ivy League schools pretty much play one game a week, especially at the end of the year. So both teams have to feel pretty good coming into this one, but certainly, as you said, a long layout for Boston College. This is their first game since the 5th of the month as we play here on the 21st. Under 15 minutes remaining here in the first half. A lot of play by Yale on its attacking end. Better the chances, though, belong to Boston College. And the 16th minute goal belonging to Conradson. Matteo chipping for Carroll. Got it by Souza, but David Longo there to help.
Boy, Yale thought that Victor Souza hit that with his hands. You could hear a little hollering there. The call did not come.
It was close. It was a deflection before that ball went out, and it is ruled a goal kick. The pressure for Logan Sullivan. Let's go back to what you're talking about here.
Yeah, let's see. Off the forearm.
Close.
Yeah. Referees let it go.
Certainly been allowed to play tonight in this opening round NCAA Men's Soccer Championship game. Everybody trying to get to Wake Med Park and carry, and a foul comes out here against Yale.
Well, this is Ustay having a word with Robert Sabiga.
It's Jake Schaefer. Gets called for his second foul of the game.
Push in the back there, I think no question. Amos Shapiro-Thompson took that contact. Now as we come back live, David Longo's back on the ground.
It was Paolo Carroll who got called for the foul, and that's 2 in a row there where, you can see the arms coming out here.
I think no question. Really, each of those last 2 fouls.
Ball got in behind, but Haddock had to jump out with Mike Susky charging quickly for Boston College.
And I'll go back to what I said just a few minutes ago. In a tournament game like this, you like to allow a little bit more go from the officials, but again, you have to get the clear and obvious ones.
A lot of fans packing into the stands on the far side, even extending onto the hill on a cold night here in Newton, Massachusetts. Boston College contingent. Looks like some students in there.
They let the first 100 students in for free here tonight. Give a little home field edge.
Turned over to Yale. Carroll got knocked off on a good play by Victor Souza. And then here comes Shapiro Thompson with his speed. Goes to Beto Luna. Back to Shapiro Thompson, trying to get room. Luna coming in at the last minute, but Loeb cleared him out. Ryan Matteo is the one who made the play coming back to take it away from Shapiro Thompson. This will end up in a corner, though, for Boston College. First corner of the game for the Eagles.
Yeah, there's Amos Shapiro Thompson. I think this was a good decision by Justin Loeb, the senior, one of the best D-men in the Ivy League, to take the corner kick. It was going to be dangerous otherwise.
Lehman to take it, low ball. Longo really got a piece. Eagles will let it go back, looking for Sigurdsson in the pass. And Yale coming back out. Sullivan right along the sideline. Got knocked out of bounds off of BC.
Boy, Mielis, a very intense challenge here. Watch him go right in.
And that was ruled just out of bounds. Another Yale substitution is Kai Mose, the first year from Los Altos, California. Checks in for Paulo Carroll.
When I said intense on that challenge by Alex Mielis, you could see the look in his face even after he got back up off the ground.
Mose knocks it out for a BC throw. 10:40 remaining here. Good first half so far in this opening round NCAA Men's Soccer Championship match. Joe Kellett ends up with Yale. Eustace tried to get it back. Ends up forcing to Susky for BC. Out of bounds.
I think that play over by those stands, Eric, it's drawing a lot of yapping from the students that we were talking about. You could see it kind of in the faces of the players. They're hearing it. Really good atmosphere over there.
Certainly been some physical challenges right in front of those students. Settle down for Sigurdsson. Shapiro Thompson for Tyshawn Rose. His second season from East Hartford, Connecticut. Lehman chipping one, trying to get it, rising for Sigurdsson. His big frame of the box. But Yale on it, well played. Cafedo for Schaefer. Winhofer. Winhofer, the first Yale player to win an Ivy League Player of the Year award. You have to go all the way back to Jack Gould in 1998. Now, the Ivy League now does offensive and defensive players of the year rather than just one overall player of the year, which Gould won. It's been double awards since 2013, but still first Yale player to receive either honor.
And well deserved. 23 points this season for that junior. He had 11 assists. Massive total, 5th in the country.
He is one away from tying the Yale school record, which is Craig Jackson, 1997.
They've done a good job, BC has, on that man. Winhofer does not have a shot in this match yet. You came in, you worried about Winhofer and Miguel Yuste, and neither of them have really had any opportunities.
Kellett tried to play it. Yuste kept it alive in front of Lasse Lehmann. Winhofer. Flipped by Matteo. Eustace for Winhofer against Joe Kellett, centering to the middle, and Gardner there.
No problem. Good job by Christian Garner, even with Logan Sullivan cutting in right towards him. Anytime you can put the ball on net in a game like this, you can cause a problem. The nerves are high, stakes are high, and the weather is cold. Get as many shots on net as possible. You never know what could happen.
Winhofer draws the double team. Beto Luna and Joe Kellett. It'll stay with the Yale ball.
They continue to tussle these teams. This time it's Victor Souza. And then it was Sullivan going to take down one of the BC players.
Quevedo's sliding along the turf there as it goes out of bounds for a throw in for Joe Kellett. 1-0 game, the lone goal in the 16th minute from Conradson so far. Rose trying to get around. Working against Schaefer, physical play right for Susky!
Watch how great this play is by Tyshawn Rose. Keeps it in from crossing that end line. Going high for the finish. Susky right into the back of the net. He's been the spark plug for BC. Usually he's the second half scorer. Now puts in goal number 2 in half number 1.
So a 2-0 lead. And how about the difference at the end of this first half? If you're Yale, and what seemed like you'd kind of made up some of the momentum after that Eagles' first goal. And then Tyshawn Rose makes the play on the outside, and Susky finds the back of the net. 2-0 lead for Boston College. Trying to move on to the second round of the NCAA tournament, which would be at Washington on Sunday. Luna for Lehman. Shots are even at 5. Shots on goal 4-2 BC. Shapiro Thompson just missed wide.
Eric, I want to go back again and take a look at this work by Tyshawn Rose. Watch number 16 here. First, the long run to the ball, fighting with Jake Schaefer.
You wonder if that could have been maybe a foul call there on that shoulder coming in. But after that point, certainly good play between both of those guys.
Yeah, it's just a fight through the contact. And again, to keep it in. Ball very easily could have gone over the goal line or the end line. The goal is what gets the headline, and Susky deserves it. But sometimes the assist maybe even the bigger part of the play. And I think that might have been the case. Tyshawn Rose, he will earn major kudos from his coaching staff and teammates.
Winhofer spun it off a BC defender, and now here goes Mike Susky for the Eagles with Sigurdsson out in front. And a whistle from behind against Jake Schaefer. 6 in blue's been in the middle of a lot, and he's going to get a warning card for what he said after the fact here. He's got to be careful. He's upset with a couple of calls, but that was a buildup of a couple of different times talking with the officials.
Well, Schaefer was the one who was originally tangled up with Rose minutes earlier on that previous goal. Called for a foul from behind on this last rush. I think Yale is certainly looking rattled. They did not after the first goal, but now the couple of minutes since goal number 2, this Bulldogs team, they just seem to be out of sorts.
And in fairness to Schaefer, he might have had a point once or twice, but certainly, the buildup of it is going to lead to a card sometimes from an official if you talk too much. So a free kick. Lehman trying to header for Souza, knocked it down. Then a chance gets knocked all the way out. Mielis coming in. 4:28 remaining. I think you're right. I think this is an important last couple of minutes for Yale to try to stabilize things a little bit and make sure this doesn't get more than 2 going into the break.
Nice job there by Enzo Akpoye, giving up his body. Blocked that shot from getting through. We talked about it, Eric. This is not a Yale team that is used to giving up double-digit goal, or more than 1 goal, I should say. Now they've given up 2 in the first half.
First time as Sigurdsson is wide. First time since the second game of the season at Colgate that Yale has given up 2. Overall, let alone in half number 1.
And they're 2 great goals. Well earned for Boston College. Conradson with the individual effort, and then Susky gets set up by Rose. Those are the kind of scores that you need in postseason games when you're playing really good defensive teams.
And a half where the way that Yale came out of the gate, I mean, there was so much time on Yale's attacking end of the field that the result at this point, if you would just watch those first couple of minutes, certainly feels surprising the way that the Eagles have responded to it.
And you know, even with that, and I agree with you, it's been about the first 10 minutes that Yale seemed to be the aggressor. They still haven't really come close to a goal. Christian Garner's,
it's been possession time, but in terms of the scoring chances, it's certainly dominated by BC.
Yeah. Garner's got credit for 2 saves. They were of the somewhat garden variety, if you will. BC looking for more here before half.
Turnover, then given right back for a moment. BC back on it as Mielis finds Susky out wide. Susky trying to beat his man to the spot, sliding in front, Sigurdsson there! 3-0 start!
This might even be the prettiest of the bunch. Watch Mike Susky. Here goes number 11 with the long flowing hair. How about the pass back? And in traffic, there is the leading scorer, Stefan Sigurdsson. Goal number 8 in a rookie season to remember.
I mean, you could see how close Winhofer coming back was to that ball, but Sigurdsson just got there first. And what an output for the Boston College Eagles, who have scored 3 for the first time since October 8th, and only the second time all season. And Yale has already allowed more goals today than in any other game this year, when they only allowed 11 total coming into this tournament.
And what are you going to do, right? I mean, it's 3 highlight reel goals. And Mike Susky right in the middle of the last 2 of those. How about the decision to put him into the starting lineup tonight by interim coach Bob Thompson? I'll tell you what, I think he's been the player of the half.
And the goals, all 3 of them for Boston College, have been the kind of plays that Susky makes, whether it was Conradson first, Rose creating the second one, eventually finding Susky, and then Susky creating for Sigurdsson. Odd man or numbers coming down the field unsettled, it has not been kind of build up in front of the net. It's really been full-on runs to the net, creating goals. Plays starting beyond the midfield stripe.
No question. And again, to Yale, a team that's only lost twice the entire season, each of them in overtime. I can imagine the feeling is shell shock. Never would have expected this just about 45 minutes in.
No, I think you were right. After that first one, Yale responded pretty well. After that second one, though, that's maybe when that word shock kind of settles in. have this kind of year, you prepare for the NCAA tournament, feel like you even had an opportunity in a home game, and then all of a sudden it's two turns into three, and it's what can happen in this sport. Sullivan against Rose. Nice shot, Rose taking away. And BC will try to get rid of the final 10 seconds of the half.
Hard to have envisioned a better 45 minutes for Boston College. Yale, well, now you got a little bit of time to try to regroup.
We're really in it. You'd have to say that this was a pretty even half until the final 7 minutes where the Eagles were able to find two more.
I would agree with that. And Yale was pressing to try to get the equalizer, so they left themselves susceptible to the counterattack. And look, that's BC's MO. That's how they like to score, as you said, in transition.
Well, it's a difficult choice now because down by 3, elimination game for Yale. You have to continue to press, but that's the way they've played in this game, and it's what's allowed really all 3 Boston College goals you can kind of credit on some kind of counterattack situation. Whether one man developing, 2, 3. Eagles on possession right now. Ball coming across for Mielis. Headed down by Jake Schaefer for the Bulldogs. Physical first half. Here at a cold night in Newton, into the mid-30s temperature-wise here in Massachusetts. We're just outside Boston. This is a facility that is getting used to hosting big-time games, as this turf holding its 3rd NCAA tournament over the last 3 seasons worth that was available. The Boston College women's soccer team hosted a first-round game here last fall, and the Boston College women's lacrosse team hosting games here in the spring, including a quarterfinal game that eventually got the Eagles into the Final Four for the 3rd consecutive season. Just across the parking lot, the field hockey facility hosting the ACC tournament just last week.
So a lot of wins on this surface for the home BC teams. Men's soccer championship. BC is in it for the first time in 3 years. Yale is in it for the first time in 14 years.
It's been a remarkable turnaround. Yeah, we started to talk about it at the top of the show, but really kind of diving in more with what Kylie Stannard has done with this Yale program. I mean, year 1 for him in 2015 when he got the job, 1-14-2 for the Bulldogs, and they have not just built their way to this point this year, but the win total has increased in every single season, from 1-14 to 3-10 to 5-9-2, 7-6-3. First winning season since 05 last year, and then 13-2-2 this year, which is already tied a school record for wins. Ball on the ground to Sigurdsson, fell to the turf. Here's Coach Stannard, who came over after a successful stint at Michigan State as an assistant coach, Northern Illinois before that.
Well, and you wonder what his halftime talk was like with this team. Obviously, it's an unfamiliar position for the Yale club this year.
Rose centered one, got deflected down and cleared out.
I think really the best mindset you can have if you're Yale, you just can't try to get it all back at once. You have to start with one. Do anything you can to get that first goal on the board and then see what happens from there. But if you think of it as a 3-0 deficit, it seems like such a giant mountain to climb, too hard to overcome. So just think, hey, let's play a good 5-10 minutes and get a goal. Take it from there.
Well, even more so than other sports. I mean, you talk to different soccer coaches, and almost all of them will preach the idea that the 2-goal game is the most dangerous margin because of how quickly you get that one. It's a 1-goal game all of a sudden, and how the game is completely changed. So even at this point, you find one, and then you're in that 2-goal range that defenses certainly are aware of. As Yale tries to get back in this NCAA tournament game here in the first round.
They just haven't had a lot of opportunity to challenge the goalie, Christian Garner. And that one there broken up. Only 2 shots on goal the entire match thus far for the visitors.
Arneson, who started the game, back to Matteo. Got it right back from Uste, then turned back over to the Eagles. And that's kind of been the theme offensively where, we talked about it at the beginning of the game. Yale really felt like they did a nice job with possession in their attacking end, but it wasn't necessarily yielding grade A scoring chances.
Well, and I think if you're Boston College now, you just want to be safe, sound, and if need be, opportunistic. But you don't have to worry about pressing to try to score again. 3 really should be more than enough. Just do your job and limit the opportunities that Yale gets.
Man down to the far side, Joe Kellett.
Yeah, Joe took a shot here. Let's take another look.
They will stop the clock here.
Kellett holding on to that right shoulder. Here it was. That's why he's holding on to the right shoulder. Took a pretty good pop from Paolo Carroll. This is one of the few chances that the Bulldogs had in the first half. One of the 2 shots on goal. It came from their leading scorer, Mark Winhofer, but really no problem for Christian Garner on that.
You saw even Quevedo was on the far side. Couldn't get the pass all the way across.
Kellett missed the game in the ACC tournament 2.5 weeks ago at Notre Dame. One of the vocal and on-field leaders of the BC team as a senior.
It is a situation where if Kellett can get off the field, ends up being okay. It's free substitutions in the second half here at the college level. In the first half, if you are subbed out, you cannot return until the second half, but there's no limit on subs as there is in the international level. And then you can basically free sub in half number 2. Certainly hoping Joe is okay, someone who has played almost every minute in his time at Boston College since coming over from UMass Lowell.
That's good news. He gives the thumbs up signal.
He has to come off because the trainer came onto the field, but he can come right back onto the field, but does have to come off at least to start.
Eric, it was Paolo Carroll who hit him. Let's go back to the first half. This same player, Carroll, watch another blow he delivers, and it's on Garner right there. Carroll has been involved in 2 major collisions here in this game now for Yale. He's played, I guess you'd say, a bit recklessly.
The sophomore from Brazil, who moved to Brazil from the United Kingdom, does have some familiarity with United States colleges with his dad, Joseph, who was a tennis player at the University of North Carolina. And his grandfather was actually a graduate of Yale back in 1950.
Oh, those legacies, right?
Certainly always run deep, especially at the Ivy League institutions.
Indeed. Long time here, too, as they tended to Joe Kellett. Stop the clock for a good, 3 minutes, Eric? Finally back into action.
Eagles will play with 10 so that Kellett can come back onto the field quickly. At least for the moment. It's Yale in the back. Matteo, pass going over for Schaefer. And now it's Quevedo. Did not start the game, but did start here in half number 2, and that comes up as a handball. So possession to the Bulldogs.
Boy, Souza almost got called for one of those in the first half. This one, they did catch him on. Piece of the hand. Waiting to see if Joe Kellett's going to come back on the field before this free kick for Boston College.
Looks like it's actually Jesus Sawagun who has come out in position to come onto the field.
Well, I think Bob Thompson wanted to see if the option would be available for Kellett to be ready. Guess he just wasn't. And this is no time to be playing a man short. Here comes Sawagun.
Sawagun played a lot of defense. He's normally a midfielder. Played in a defensive role against Notre Dame in the ACC tournament. Free kick for Yale. Winhoff bending one in, and Gardner was there. Adam French, who is in for the first time of the game for Boston College, up front as well. Went after that last header. Lehman will work back for Victor Souza, an all ACC freshman team selection. One of 4 ACC honorees for this Boston College team.
Tells you the future is bright. Not only are they playing so well here this season, getting better seemingly as the year goes on, as so many young teams do, but boy, the foundation is set with this new class.
Well, you could see it right away in that first win against Quinnipiac. All the freshmen from Sigurdsson to Susky to Souza stepping in. Conradson, and where he was coming off of his freshman season. Picardo, and then giving way to Gardner in goal. Shapiro Thompson certainly as well, who has it right here. A lot to like. Shapiro Thompson couldn't get a clean shot on it. Ends up pushing in on Elliot Haddock.
One thing that acting head coach Bob Thompson's been able to do tonight, after Conradson scored that early goal, took him out of the game only minutes later, and we haven't seen Conradson come back as he's nursed some injury issues throughout the season. With this score being so lopsided, they may not have to use him again. Keep him fresh for a game on Sunday potentially.
Yale was called for offside. So Victor Souza, the freshman who's part of the NYC FC Academy team a year ago, where he won a club national championship. Ellis to the middle, got through the first man, now back for Lasse Lehman. Got a little bit of room, still on it, got knocked to the ground just outside the box. And a whistle against Yale. Eagles went to start quickly, ball went in, but it will not count as our referee, Robert Sabiga, is not ready to restart play. Boston College trying to go quickly and sneak something by.
I think pretty obvious foul against Akpoye. He was the one there on the tackle. As you said, Eric, though, just outside the box. Watch this. Akpoye, the challenge here on Lehman. Easy call. Up high, close to a card, I would think. No yellow comes out, but BC gets a very dangerous free kick opportunity.
It's the 6th foul called against Yale. Souza and Sigurdsson in a game that already sees BC up by 3. Souza takes it in his high. So a try for the center back, and leads to a goal kick for Elliot Haddock.
First shot of the half for Boston College. Yale has picked up a couple over the first now 9 minutes just about of the second half. Again, not getting a whole lot going towards Christian Garner.
Carroll trying to chase that one down. Goes out of bounds for a throw in for Justin Lowe.
Got to amend something I said a few minutes ago, Eric. The game on Sunday at the 6th seed Washington, 5 p.m.
Follow-up try and a good save by Gardner.
There's the
Houston.
Yeah, sorry, Eric. That's the best opportunity for Yale.
It kind of looked like everything was done, and then all of a sudden Miguel Yusti found an opportunity. That surprised Gardner a little bit, able to make a save, and creates a second corner kick of the game for the Bulldogs.
But anyway, 5 p.m. Pacific time Sunday, so 8 Eastern is that second round match.
Goal kick, header try. First on it was BC. Yusti following it up for Yale. Right along this end line as he kicked it. Not going to matter anyway as it goes out of bounds. If you're just joining us, it's a 3-0 start for Boston College, beginning with Christopher Conradson.
Left-footed bullet of a shot, and then two beautiful goals. Rose to Susky. 4 minutes later, Susky to Sigurdsson. They were having fun in the opening half, Boston College. Lots to celebrate.
Conradson's goal in the 16th minute, and then 38th minute and 42nd minute of those second and third goals from Susky and then Sigurdsson. There's your scoring summary. Capped off by the team leader in goals, first year Sigurdsson. 10 minutes across into this first half. Still the Eagles in command. Trying to move to the second round. They've gone at least to the second round in their last couple of NCAA tournament appearances. Most recently in 2016, where they advanced to round number 2 before falling to Albany. The year before that in 2015, making it to the Elite Eight for the second time in program history, where they fell to Syracuse. Sigurdsson corrals that one ahead of Loeb. Time for Sauagoon coming to the box. Shapiro Thompson follows it up for Mielis. Couldn't get behind Jake Schaefer. The pass from Carroll goes out of bounds. Led Houston a bit too far.
Really, all Boston College is concerned about now, you'd think, Eric, you're happy to keep the ball on this end of the field. Just keep the clock going. Again, you don't really think you need any more goals. Tick, tick, tick. You're happy with that man and everybody on that sideline.
Yale went quickly there, so whistle came out, so they will have to throw in again with Jake Schaefer. Mielis stepped up, got around the slide of Matteo. Mielis behind Eusti for Shapiro. Thompson blocked by Akpoye. And now Arneson for the Bulldogs. First time all year that Yale has allowed more than 2 goals in a game. Just the second time all year they allowed more than 1. Ball is out of bounds for a deep throw.
Yeah, hasn't this game just kind of gone that way for Yale in their own back end? It's kind of a careless pass. Tough night for the boys from New Haven. They've won their last 4 games in the regular season coming into this. I know that they came up here confidently thinking that this could be their first NCAA tournament win in 20 years. A lot of work to do to make that a reality.
And outscored opponents 31-8 over their most recent 15 games after 1-1 and 2-2 ties in the first 2 games of the season.
Played an ACC team in their season opener. That's the only other one from the Atlantic Coast Conference. They tied Syracuse. Syracuse, a good team.
Yeah, another tournament team. One of 10 for the Atlantic Coast Conference this year, a conference record. Pressure from Quevedo. Souza alludes to Lehman. Lehman got taken to the ground, just sliding across with enough contact, and a yellow card ends up coming out against Mark Winhofer.
That's important. Yale's perhaps best offensive player, Mark Winhofer, now playing on a card. Second card tonight given to Yale.
Their turnover to the midfield. Winhofer gets back on it. Long ball is too far for Sigfus Arneson. Winner of this game will take on Washington, who awaits in their lair in Seattle. Coming up on Sunday, 8 o'clock Eastern time start, no matter who heads out west.
I think you're still, whoever wins this game, happier it's a night game at least.
That's right. A little bit of time to recover. 1 week ahead of Thanksgiving. Susky chasing in. Maddock plays it Ilian Haddock, the sophomore, started 3 games last year. It was Tom Wallenstein's net a season ago, the junior from Germany, who was in the top 5 in the Ivy League, goals against average and save percentage. But Haddock came in this year, won the job, was an all first team Ivy selection this year, and came into this game 9th in the country in save percentage at .820 and 14th in the country in goals against average of .062, playing every minute.
He's had, as we've talked about, this great season. I think, Eric, you look back at the 3 goals and say no chance really on any of them for Ilian Haddock. BC, just 3 gorgeous goals in their own right.
Header, trying to go for Euste in the back. Goal kick coming up for Gardner.
Sometimes, as a goalie, you're only going to be able to be as good as your defense in front of you. I don't want to say hung out to dry, but those last couple goals pretty much tap-ins.
And just strong development by Boston College.
Yep.
Sigurdsson against Schaefer. And Victor Souza steps up to play it. Even there, a couple of blue jerseys crashing in on Souza, but continues to show impressive poise as a freshman center back.
A very good job for Boston College this half. 15 minutes plus, playing with the lead. Exactly how you draw it up if you're Bob Thompson. That's another hard hit.
Clock will start. Winhofer's got to be careful. He's playing on a card.
Boy, we've seen some of the Boston College players sprawled out on this field turf.
They have asked for the training staff, so Shapiro Thompson will have to come out. You see, he's going to swing at the ball, but the ball was already gone at that point.
Yeah, Winhofer right into Amos Shapiro Thompson's leg or shin even.
Looks like it's not going to be a card, it's just going to be a foul. So Winhofer, who, as we said, playing on a yellow. Long conversation between him and Robert Sabiga, our referee.
Missed 4 games earlier this season, did Amos Shapiro Thompson. The fact that he was an all-ACC freshman selection, all the more impressive considering the time missed. A little bit of a limp there as he makes his way off. Already seen Joe Kellett leave this half due to injury, and he has not returned.
Well, so far a 3-0 lead for Boston College. All 3 goals in the first half. Conradson, Susky, and Sigurdsson. First time with 3 goals since October 8th for Boston College against their crosstown rivals in Northeastern. Cavedo coming to the middle. Euste setting up. Ended up with the foot of Matteo for his second. Ends up all the way in the back for Yale. Eagles also scored 3 on September 10th on the road at Holy Cross. It is a long season. It feels like a long time ago when the Eagles opened up on August 29th against Quinnipiac.
It feels like a long time ago, I'm sure, for those guys when they even played a game last at ACC tournament 2.5 weeks ago.
Out of bounds for a goal kick, as we said. November 5th was that first round loss to Notre Dame in the ACC tournament. And, you know, it's worth even mentioning the response to that game as well for Boston College. Not just coming back from this layoff, not just trying to have this performance in the NCAA tournament, as Sigurdsson able to get up here.
You know, we saw him, Eric, stretching out before the start of the second half. I wonder if there's something in his either lower back or upper legs that's bothering him. He's going to have to come out as well.
Certainly on a cold night, if there's anything lingering, it certainly tends to flare up. Christopher Conradson will come back in for the first time since midway through the first half. But let's remember, this Eagles team that lost on an own goal in overtime on the road at Notre Dame. So to be able to come back for that, it would be so easy to feel like, well, it's kind of it for this season, just because of the length of the layoff by no fault of Boston College, just the way the schedule kind of works out from the length of the ACC tournament, length of the break, and then going into this NCAA tournament. But it's been really impressive the way that Boston College has come out today.
It seems to have re-energized them. You know, when you're not even certain that you're getting a bid into the tournament. That whistle's going to go against Yale, I think. They bring down Jesus Sawagun. Another look at it. But when you don't know that you're even getting into the tournament, hard to handle that 2+ week layoff. That was a pretty good tackle.
Eagles felt pretty good about their chances, but still an at-large selection. 28th RPI, and that's where, you know, a really good win against Wake Forest, a really good effort against #1 Virginia, and a tie helps in just a massive way. Here is Conradson, who scored the opening goal. Nice lead pass for Susky. He got a foot on it before it went out of bounds, but didn't have the angle for the shot.
I don't know how he did. Look how fast Mike Susky is when chasing down this pass from Conradson. Leads him a little too far, you thought, but he can close on it. Somehow got that one in on the goalie.
And you see the skill level of Conradson, and even here in a game at 3-0 that it kind of settled in, he's so capable of changing things with one touch. Yale coming back. Sullivan couldn't get one across. Cleared all the way out.
For whatever it's worth, Boston College, if this holds, will remain undefeated outside of ACC games this season.
Shot in from the Ivy League Offensive Player of the Year, Mark Winhofer, and Gardner with the save.
5th of the night now. 3rd this half for Christian Gardner. Winhofer just didn't quite get enough mustard on that to really challenge. But you look at it, this could be the 7th non-conference win of the year for Boston College if it holds.
Not just the non-conference success, but if Boston College finds a way to hold on. Another surge. Sullivan to the middle, cleared out by David Longo. 7-1-2 at home would be the record for BC, and that includes Wake Forest and Virginia.
Well, you never say never, but you would say likely the final home match of the season for that man's team. But not their final non-conference. If Washington is on the docket to take a team out of the Pac-12 on.
Yale's starting to develop some good opportunities here. Trying to find a really grade A chance. Matteo trying to get away from Shapiro. Thompson. David Longo again clears. Loeb pushing in. Victor Souza is there. Right-footed touch to Rose, who got knocked to the ground. And then it's cleared out by Adam French, who came in to play it. One of the captains, one of 4 captains on this BC roster.
Yale has been able to put up 4 shots here in this second half thus far. A little bit more pressure coming towards Christian Gardner's goal. Nothing past him yet. Sorry, Eric.
Trying to get why. You wonder if the shots are going to start to come from farther out here. Just because at some point this becomes desperate in an elimination game.
And I think, too, you just give credit to BC for the way they've played with this lead. Haven't had any defensive issues that have given real grade A scoring opportunities to the Yale attack. They've had a good game plan, and they've executed it.
Gardner comes out ahead of the run from Winhofer. Just under 23 minutes remaining in this first round NCAA Men's Soccer Championship first round game. You can start to feel the urgency for Yale. Their takeaway is the Eagles are able to put more behind the ball. Conradson wide for Susky once again against Justin Loeb. And it will be Yale possession.
I think one piece of worry at the moment for Boston College, the guys who have had to limp off the field here in this second half. Three of their best players, Kellett, Shapiro Thompson, Sigurdsson. They've all had to go out.
Continues to be part of the story this whole year. Boston College has had to deal with some adversity, some injuries, and they found players to step up into those roles. Salagoon fell to the ground. Out wide for Arneson against Longo. And I believe he was over the end line when that pass came in. He indeed was. A couple substitutions for the Bulldogs about to come in. That's what we're talking about earlier. Joe Kellett, who was removed from the pitch.
Taking that shot to the right shoulder from Paolo Carroll of Yale. One of the leaders of BC. There he is with the ice pack.
And a 3-0 game. You wonder if the score was not that, whether we'd see maybe Sigurdsson or Kellett or others at this point. You saw Sigurdsson with the long jacket on this cold night where you can see your breath kind of evening. One of the challenges of Northeast soccer and really all Northern soccer, where at the NCAA level you're playing critical games in the worst of the conditions sometimes, which not terrible conditions-wise tonight, just cold out there.
I think the good thing, once you're running around, you're not going to notice the cold as much, especially without any wind. BC gives up a corner here.
And the third one created by Yale. This is a Bulldogs team that averages almost 8 corners per game over the course of their season created. Coming in, header try, got knocked back.
Boy, just nothing really doing. It's at the time of the game, Eric, where if desperation hasn't set in before, it is now. You get those opportunities, down by 3 goals, really need to challenge and take advantage.
Winhofer's shot blocked. Ball out in front for Susky. Flag was down, but Haddock was way out to play it. How about that lead pass coming from the other side of the field?
Yeah, you don't usually get a 1 versus the goalie break like that. It was going to be. It's a good challenge by Haddock. Come out, cut off any chance for Susky.
Yale forced to play in the back, under 20 remaining. 3-0 lead, BC in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Winhofer works back for Loeb. Their takeaway by the Eagles. Playing behind the ball with Susky up front, Conradson as well. And hanging on to the lead right now. Shots are 4-2 Yale in this second half, but still Yale has had attacking third possession, but they have not had a significant shot total at any point over the course of this game, even when it feels like they're controlling the run of play.
I was saying it earlier, I really do think that the game plan BC came up with has worked and been executed to a T. It took them about 10 minutes maybe to get the speed of actual game, their legs underneath them after the long layoff, but since then, I don't know that you can find anything to quip about. If you're Bob Thompson or anybody over on that Eagles bench. And again, who could have imagined, even in a best-case scenario, a 3-0 lead by halftime?
It shows how quickly things can turn when you look at the whole course of this game, that as much as it feels like BC is controlled, it's been pretty even outside of the final 7 minutes or so, and even less than that, really a 5-minute stretch in that final 7 where BC scored 2, turned 1-0 into 3-0.
You saw David Longo hobbled a couple of times today. We've seen him come up a little bit injured. It's another thing that BC cannot afford. No more of the walking wounded if they're about to get on a plane to the West Coast. Longo's been an Iron Man this season.
Eagles were out of balance. So possession will go back to the Bulldogs. Eagles' longest road trips have been in the ACC. By Louisville, Notre Dame, Clemson, whichever direction. Trying to earn a trip to Seattle. What a move by Conradson. What a pass for Mike Susky. And he was wide of the net. But the development there, it leads to a corner kick for Boston College. Stefan Sigurdsson will come back into the game for the Eagles. But Conradson continues to show off his moves.
You can see that developing too, with Susky making his run down the near side. Susky has been one of the players of the match, and it's good news, I'm sure, for Eagles fans to see Sigurdsson.
Conradson can take it off his left foot, went short with it. Got the follow-up try, clipped in, headed out by Akpoye.
No need to rush. Take your time. Keep the ball in this end of the field as much as possible. BC holding control. That obviously means that Yale's not getting an opportunity to score.
Yeah, even the last 5-6 minutes or so, it has turned from some surges for Yale into some pretty strong possession play for the Eagles. No whistle there as Shapiro Thompson went to the ground. Sigurdsson leading Conradson, couldn't get through Schaefer. Said to be all over the place defensively for the Bulldogs today. 6 in the deep blue. USD works back to Jeremy Haddock. Off of Tyshawn Rose. And Sawagun up in the air again for the second game in a row. Sawagun getting the majority of his minutes on the back line. More natural midfield player throughout his career so far in his sophomore season from Miami. Conradson, a little bit of space. It got deflected first. And Haddock there to make the stop. You need the big heaters today.
Last time that Boston College won an NCAA tournament game. Got to go back there to November of 2015. You mentioned it, Eric. That was on the way to the Elite Eights. Quarterfinal round of this men's soccer championship. Lost their... At least that was a handsome Dan look.
It's a cold night for him.
Yeah. I think he's eager to hop out there and try to help out.
Great to see Handsome Dan. You more partial to Handsome Dan or Uga?
Am I more partial? How do you pick between Bulldogs? Or partial? How do you pick between Bulldogs? Now, I have seen Uga in person. This is my first look at Handsome Dan. He looks like a jolly little fellow.
It's good to see him out here in the cold. Looked it up the other day because Boston College men's basketball, this is a corner kick created for Yale, just took on Eastern Washington and other Eagles. Eagles, the third most common nickname among collegiate teams. Just ahead of Wildcats, trailing only Tigers and Bulldogs.
All right.
Ball in, Gardner got a piece, left punch, and then it is out. If you included Golden Eagles, then that would be tied with the Bulldogs total. I believe it was 16.
Well, the winner of this match is going to take on another very common nickname, a Huskies. Punch here by Garner. First to the ball, the goalie. Keep it out of harm's way.
Throw in for Jake Schaefer.
The Washington team that awaits the winner here, the champions of the Pac-12. Number 6 overall seed in this tournament, as you said, Eric. That's a really dangerous team. A 15-3 record. They won 8 games in the Pac-12. And it's going to be a difficult matchup for whichever of these squads has to fly out there.
Shapiro Thompson developing, and there's Justin Loeb clearing the ball away. Loeb got hit at the end of that. Long ball is too far, out of the reach of Victor Souza. Well, both of these teams familiar with playing big-time competition this year. Yale, as we said, took on the defending national champs in Maryland on the road mid-season. And for Boston College, they have played a top 3 ranked team 3 times this year. Played Wake when they were number 3, Virginia at number 1, Clemson at number 3. So when you beat a team like Wake Forest, you come into a tournament like this, and it's not even a belief without evidence situation. You feel like you can beat anyone in the country because Boston College basically has in the ACC this year.
Right, there's going to be no intimidation, even if you fly out to the Northeast to take on one of the top teams. Look, you have seen the best and you've played with them. First-hand knowledge, and they'll be a confident bunch, no doubt, if they do indeed hold on in this match. And sometimes you win one of these opening round games, and maybe you get a little bit of an edge early on against a team that has a bye.
Mielis clipped off of a Yale defender, then Loeb settled down for Conradson. It was all off of Susky's great pass, finding Mielis. Lehman got by. Adio then got a piece and punched forward by Arneson. Winhofer could not get it through Salagoon. Strong defensive play by the sophomore.
Indeed. Good anticipation. Just make sure to keep the ball in front of you.
Playing right next to David Longo. Even though Salagoon is not a natural defender, he spent much more time playing in the midfield. He and Longo, the guy he's playing right next to in the back, certainly have familiarity with each other, both playing for Weston FC in their youth careers. There's pressure from Carroll that time on Christian Gardner.
Picked that ball up a little late, but he got to it. Garner working on the shutout in his first postseason NCAA tournament start anyways. Got 5 saves.
Garner trying to post his 4th shutout of the season. It would be the 6th for Boston College as a team.
You know what I'm talking about though, Eric? Going back to my point, if you win a game, everybody would certainly rather have a bye, like the top 16 seeds do. But if you're one of the 16 teams today lucky enough to win, you really do build some momentum going into the weekend. Get the jitters out of the way.
And especially in an offensive surge like this, if the Eagles hang on. Sigurdsson got well defended by Enzo Akpoye. Out ahead for Carroll. Yale still trying to find the board for the first time. Turned over to Mielis. Susky working against Schaefer. And Schaefer stayed with possession. Logan Sullivan, the sophomore out of Santa Fe, New Mexico. He's a really highly sought after recruit.
He made a nice move on that last run there to get by Tyshawn Rose. There's nobody home when he tried to the cross.
Ended up going to high school at the famed Shattuck St. Mary's in Minnesota. Was the second highest ranked Midwestern recruit by Top Drawer Soccer when he came into Yale last year.
Boy, Shapiro Thompson's just limping all over the field here this half. Continuing to battle for his team since he's come back.
That important holding midfield spot, which is a lot of run time. Ball a little bit too far for Carroll. And Gardner will let it roll in and grab it ahead of Jeremy Haddock. .6:27 remaining. 3-0 lead BC in this opening round match. Eagles have done a nice job winding this clock down continually over this second half. And a 3-0 lead after one.
Boy, they really have. You know, I think, Eric, almost textbook. Playing and protecting a big lead. Can't do it much better, obviously. They've only given up 4 shots in the second half. Figured that those totals might grow maybe exponentially for Yale once the final 45 minutes began, but they still haven't gotten very many chances.
Haddock, who is listed as a defender, but you can see Yale pushing players forward. He's up right now. Logan Sullivan got taken to the ground, and a whistle came out against Boston College.
Got to go quickly here. Winhofer's going to take this free kick. Only about 5 minutes left. You need 3 goals. No time to dawdle if you're the Bulldogs.
The Ivy League's Offensive Player of the Year headed it on Gardner, and he's got the save. With Paolo Carroll trying to find one on net.
He's been where he's needed to be, huh? Puts himself in the right position.
You can only do what you're asked. Defense has played well.
Yep.
And Gardner has cleaned up anything else left over. Another look at how the Eagles got out to a 3-0 lead on Yale, starting with Conradson.
His was a gorgeous left-handed boot, then 2 beautiful setups. Rose to Susky. 4 minutes later this was. Susky to Sigurdsson. This game became a 3-goal advantage for the home team in the span of 4 minutes late in the first half. I think to the surprise of just about everybody here at the Newton campus soccer field. Winhofer out. The Ivy League's Offensive Player of the Year, you can see coming off for head coach Kylie Statter.
Carroll breaks the shutout. Paolo Carroll, his second goal of the season. Oh, I take it back. They called offside against Yale. Flag was up on the near side.
Well, oh so close. Not much of an argument. No protestation visible from Carroll. Offsides negates what would have finally been goal number 1.
Eagles will try to run out the final 4 minutes. They can hang on. They will head to Seattle Husky Soccer Stadium, which is a grass facility, which will be a little bit different. Certainly there's some ACC schools play on the grass. This is a turf field for Boston College. Soccer coaches that love to play on their grass, the way the game was invented to be played.
Nice defense there by Jake Schaefer.
Goal kick coming up for Yale.
Yep, bodied the offensive player off the ball. Winhofer back out there, by the way, for Yale. 10 on the field. You only got 3 minutes left in your season. You got to try to do something, anything to get a goal.
No matter what the final 2:45 yields here for Yale, it is a remarkable season in New Haven. One of, if not arguably the best season in school history. Will not be the farthest that Yale has advanced in the tournament, but tied for a school record with wins with 13. Tied for their best Ivy League mark at 6-1. Back in the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2005. And you think about the turnaround from 1 win in 2015 in year 1 under Kylie Stannard to 13 here in 2019. Future's bright in New Haven.
Well, they'll lose captain Miguel Yuste. He graduates. And this looking like it'll be his final game, but a lot of the talent up front coming back. Elian Haddock, the goalie's got a couple more years, Eric. The first team All-Ivy man in net.
That's what we're talking about, looking at the season that Yale put together. First Ivy League title since 2005. The top Ivy League teams, all kinds of players across the Ivy League postseason awards teams, including the Offensive Player of the Year. Mark Winhofer will come back for his senior season, as Yale will try to repeat as Ivy League champs.
And this really getting into the men's soccer tournament. It's a culmination of the turnaround, I'd say, for Coach Stannard. As you said, from where they were, kind of the depths of the Ivy.
Ball to the middle. Longo got a piece of the shot from Andrew Sadie Kennedy, a senior back who gets in for the first time, number 19, as Kylie Stannard putting some of his seniors out there. Andrew Carton, a senior, comes out of the field for Yale. So a nice move here by Coach Stannard to get some seniors minutes here in their final collegiate game. But 44 seconds remaining between Boston College and a flight out west to Seattle. Three first half goals from Conradson, then Susky, and finally Sigurdsson. Capping it off with his team-leading 8th goal of the season. Carton, one more surge to break the shutout, denied by Victor Souza. And the Boston College Eagles will escape the first round from Yale and will soar on to Washington.